All right, we're going to start with the nation. Why I selected Shettima as running mate by Tinubu. CBN tightens e-payment rules for banks. Government kill 19 in South Africa's random bar shooting. Investors seek stoppage of TTB's acquisition of Union Bank. Federal scarcity persists in Lagos-Abuja, others, and 17 more bodies recovered from Lagos boat accident. Okay, let's start with the major headline. Who has that story?
Okay, so the presidential candidate for the APC in the next coming general elections have, declared who his running mate, his vice presidential candidate will be, and he picked Senator Kashim Shettima, the two-time former governor of Borno State and presently a senator at the National Assembly. And he said he was guided by the principles of competence, innovation, compassion, integrity, fairness, and adherence to excellence. So a lot of Nigerians have issues around the Muslim, because he is a northern Muslim, and the presidential candidate already himself is a southern Muslim. Nigerians have issues around it, but what I know personally, this is a personal opinion, I have always loved the person of Kashim Shettima as governor because of the way he reacted.
Yes.
It's been the example I always cite here.
You always reference him a lot.
Reference him. The way he reacted when his people had a problem, rather than, make the problem, and it was then they were in the minority. He made it an issue for him to go to the presidency every time for that assistance his people needed, rather than make, public cries all the time. So,
all right, it's a hot topic because that's the only topic Nigerians are talking about today. So we'll talk about it extensively later. Let's move on to another topic, in another story in the nation.
Yes, fuel scarcity resurfaced at the weekend, and it worsened in many parts of Nigeria. So he said that in the most parts, the fuel were available, but it was being sold for different prices. They said it was worse hit in places like Lagos, Kaduna, and Jos. And some filling stations were selling for 200 naira per litre, while the black market had the opportunity to sell between 300 to 500 per litre in those places. And then they had, according to the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMA, they've been having issues and been at loggerheads with NMDPRA, and they're calling out for their standing bridging gaps claim, which is estimated to be about 50 billion to his members. And that money was said to have been paid, and they're asking, if you say this money has been paid, bring out the receipts. So IPMA was initially planning to probably start up a strike to, show their displeasure of what is happening. But they are now saying that the strike may not likely hold because they are not all united. They said the IPMA chapter of the Southwest had decided to give out fuel. They are saying that they don't want to resort to strike. Strike has never solved any form of problem in Nigeria. And they are going to try as much as possible to make fuel available to all the people in the Southwest. So this will not likely augur well with the people who are trying to insist a strike, so that they can have their issues addressed.
Okay. All right. So I have this story. This is from South Africa. It says that in South Africa, in Soweto, about 19 people were killed in two random shootings within hours of each other. And I took this story really because I know Nigeria will like, what's wrong with South Africa? I took this story because there just seemed to be widespread violence globally. This was at a bar that some people came in with rifles and just shot at people randomly, sporadically. It happened hours before, about 8:30 a.m. Another one had happened. They said on Thursday before, the same random coming into a group of people and just shooting. We have a serious problem on our hands, as a world general, globally, because we hear in America how they are just going to schools and just shooting innocent children. In Africa, in Nigeria, our own is just insurgents or bandits or whatever it is that we call them. There has to be a change of the way government is handles things now, I think. It looks to me like we're coming to an end of an era, an end of a democratic era where sometimes, I'm beginning to lean towards that thing that Morales says. Maybe you need to start grabbing people and just punishing them immediately they commit a crime.
So I was going to talk about the death toll in the Lagos, the accident that happened, the boat mishap that happened on Friday. Many of us saw the news on social media. About 17 bodies had been recovered after that mishap. And NEMA, that's the National Emergency Management Agency, confirmed that figure last night. Also, the regulators have said that this accident was caused by illegal operators who were actually running shifts after 7 p.m. because according to the rules, you're not supposed to run anything after 7 p.m. This actually happened at 7:45 p.m. And secondly, they didn't have life jackets in that. So it was an illegal operator who was running that shift. And I guess we were just trying to get home for the holidays on time. So,
and then thirdly, these are wooden boats. This sort of boat.
Yes, this was a wooden boat, according to him. It was revealed that the regulatory, they've tried to stamp out all these illegal operators, but some of them just find a way to just run it. They know the urgency people want to have during this holiday period, and they took advantage of it. Let's move on quickly now to the Punch. How Tinubu shunned Northwest governors settled for Shettima. Fuel hits 250 naira per litre in Abuja. Others queues spreads. 17 bodies of Lagos boat accident victims recovered. Rainfall. Lagos residents lament flooding, transport fare hike. Hajj operators decry hitches, demand refund from Nakon. Osun governor candidates disagree on arms for Amotekun. Salah travelers, others trapped in Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway traffic. Manufacturers threaten shutdown over soaring diesel prices. Terrorists demand 4.3 billion for Kaduna train hostages. What? Court remands billionaire linked to Kyari drug deal. And my kidnappers threatened large-scale attacks on Yoruba land, says victim. Okay, which story are we starting with?
So let's talk about the flood that happened during Salah on Saturday. And according to the story, really, it was just on the Lagosians lamenting the increase in transport fares due to the rainfall. So on Friday, getting home, I got flooded in my car too at Second Rainbow. First Act was flooded. All around Lagos on Saturday was heavy rain. So I think this is the 7 days rain, the regular one. And the story carries how, because of floods on all the roads, the transporters that are operating the roads had to increase fares because it was difficult driving through water. And so transport distances of about 200 naira became 500 naira per distance and all of that. And that increment is, of course, due to the rain. And in continuation of the story, we had influencers now asking government, how did they prepare for the rain? Thatcher was quoted to be saying that, all influencers should come out and call on government and, demand what they did to prepare for the rain. There was an eyewitness saying that they didn't prepare for the rain in Sasha, Gbeda, Akonwojo area, that, Lekki was flooded, but other areas, unexpected. Surulere, First Act was well flooded. Amuodofin, total, flood everywhere, all the way. So we will look into it later.
Okay, another story in Punch.
Yeah, terrorists are demanding 100 million ransom for each of the 43 abducted Kaduna train passengers who are still in custody. They communicated this demand to the family members last week, and this was coming 5 days after the abduction and Kuje medium prison break. And so, there was also a viral video that was, posted saying that Islamic States of West Africa, that ISWAP, they took ownership of the attack in the prisons. And during the attack, over 300 Boko Haram fighters, convicted criminals, and other inmates were released by the terrorists. And they, we talked about it on the show here. So the federal government has uploaded on Interpol database that 64 Boko Haram commanders who were released from custody at that prison break. Now, some family members who still have people in their custody are crying out, saying that they have reached out to them, saying that they are going to take 100 million for one person each. And that's what they are going to collect. And they are no longer interested in negotiating with the federal government. They now want to negotiate directly with the family members. This is just a failure of government. The appeal is, what can the government do now to ensure that these people come? They also released about 7 people from their custody. Those people have paid, but did not disclose how much they have paid. It's just like we have been hoping that government would do something. Now that their leaders, what they had, they were both negotiating on different ends, and they had something, you release this, I release this to you. They have taken their own. The terrorists have gotten their leaders. So how does the federal government get out these 43 people? What is going to be mortgaged for these 43 people?
All right.
It's just painful.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Mariam had a story.
Yes, so the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has remanded Nigerian billionaire Ukatu Malison and his accomplice Sunday Ibekute for their alleged conspiracy and connivance with the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari's alleged 3 billion hard drug in the facility of the Nigerian Correctional Services. They are facing a 3-count charge bordering on conspiracy, trafficking of 322 kg of tramadol, and unlawful dealing and possession of the said banned drug leveled against them by NDLEA. They had asked also for a bail, but they were was opposed, and so they'll be remanded until their next court sitting. This is, I think, a win for NDLEA and also for Nigeria, that when something like this, when big wigs are involved in issues like this with drugs and corruption, we're able to see them go through the process of justice.
I hope they don't get a pardon later.
And we just hope that this ends, you know, ends right or justly for Nigerians.
Ends in a conviction.
Okay, following the debate on if Amotekun should have ammunition, there was a debate recently, I think, for the Osun State governorship candidacy going on, and Governor Oyetola was saying that because Amotekun is having to face criminals with weapons, it was only adequate for them to also be given weapons. However, the other candidates from Accord Party were saying that they would rather have more people recruited to Amotekun, but they shouldn't be allowed to bear arms because the Constitution forbids them to do so. Other candidates had a different perspective. The Senator Adeleke was from PDP was saying that he would rather equip the police to be able to do the job. So they all had a different perspective, but this is following the continuous debate of should we have local police and should they be armed? Okay, let's move on quickly to Daily Sun. Can others kick as Tinubu picks Muslim running mate? Lagos boat mishap death toll rises to 17 as 4 more bodies recovered. Imo government is auctioning my vehicle, says Okorocha. Insecurity, Edo reads riot act to traditional rulers, others to flush out criminal headsmen from their forests. Umar calls for execution of presidential pardon for the Pardari and Yami. Nationwide shutdown of electricity, railway imminent over ASU and others. Fears grip Abuja, neighboring towns as NSCDC hints of ISOP planned attacks. Terrorists plotting to attack Kano in DSS custody, says IPOB. And group counsels Wiki over romance with APC governors. Lots of stories in Sun today.
Let me start with Edo State. So, following the sad abduction and murder of the Catholic priest and a hunter, and also just the growing level of insecurity in Edo State, the acting governor, Comrade Philip Shaibu, has had a meeting with the people in the community, in the states, really, with leaders, traditional leaders, and local government heads, and he asked them that, especially he talked to the local government heads, he said they should use all the security apparatus under them, that they have authority over police, the soldiers, vigilante groups, should do everything to make sure that anyone staying within the forest illegally everyone in the forest should be taken out. Yes. And that for the traditional leaders who have collected money from headsmen so that these people can graze or camp, should return those monies and make sure everybody leaves the forest as they fight this insecurity.
So, if you recall, there was a meeting that 4 key governors of APC had with Governor Wiki, and many have reacted, what are they discussing? What is going on? Anyway, the Igbo socio-political pressure organizations, Southeast Revival Group, SERG, have said that he should be careful, that he understands he's been aggrieved, but he shouldn't take any hasty decisions. According to them, Wike must be careful and patient in taking any political decisions in order not to lose the goodwill he has earned from the masses over the years of his sterling performance in real estate. That people recognize his audaciousness, you know, as the governor of an oil-rich state, and that this meeting is having with these APC governors. Don't go and take any decisions because there are lots of people that are following you and don't make any wrong decisions. So we'll see how that goes. But there are many speculations saying, what's going on? Is we keep moving to APC? What's happening? Because it was Ayo Fayoshi that was also in that picture. We don't know if it was Ayo Fayoshi that took him there, but we're still reading and understanding what is cooking. Everybody's asking that question.
So calm down, we'll soon hear.
Okay.
So the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, are raising alarm over an alleged secret plot by the terrorists who attacked the Kuje Correctional Center to eliminate their leader, who is currently in the custody of the DSS. So according to the spokesperson of the group, Ima Powerful, he said that the attack in Kuje prison was a prelude plan by the terrorist group to orchestrate a plan to kill their leader. And this is more like a warning to the federal government that the IPOB leader is not safe with the DSS. And so they are asking that he be released to either the British government, where he belonged, conditionally, or released to the President General of Ahaneze, Professor George Obiozo, or better still, to the trusted hands of elder statesman Chief Mbazulike Amechi, because it will not be fair that he dies in custody since they are hearing of this plan. And so that is what the federal government should be planning to do to safeguard the life of Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay, there's more threat, because many people are even scared that you've released 64 Boko Haram. Yeah. So there's, aside from just Kanu, there are other issues in the neighboring states. People are worried about insecurity generally, not just for one person. So it's a general concern. Let's move on quickly to the Nigerian Tribune. Can MBF, ACF, and Feniferi react as Tinubu picks Shetima as running mate? 12 rescued as bus falls into Lagos Canal. Train attack, 7 freed passengers united with families. How human trafficker recruited orphan to export drug to Dubai, says NDLEA. Despite 125 billion naira grid intervention in 6 years, power supply worsens, says investigation. Remove VAT on diesel, reactivate nation's refineries, MAN tells federal government. Equities investors lost 139 billion naira in 5 days as NGS closes at 0.56% lower. IGP deploys DIG, 53 other senior officers and 5 APCs, 3 helicopters for Osun Guba elections, and Senate to issue warrants of arrest on presidential amnesty program officials. Okay, which story are we starting with?
The 125 billion grid intervention. So this article in the Tribune takes a complete inventory of how much has been put between 2015 and 2021. They said 125 billion has been used to fund key grid initiatives, and yet the country is still in darkness. They said this excludes another $1.7 billion transmission and development finance funding it got through the World Bank and the Africa Development Bank and AFD and GICA, among others. Also, the Minister for Power, Abubakar Ali, also talked about another Central Bank of Nigeria fund, which was about $250 million meant for the rehabilitation of critical interfaces between transmission and distribution to increase and stabilize power. Would they hear this big money, but we didn't see the results. Also, federal government, through the Siemens project, put in a $2 point something billion project for that Siemens deal. That's aside another $4 billion estimated at, and an estimated 1.7 trillion using the current current exchange rate for that amount that has been put into the same sector. Right. And between 2016 and 2022 alone, 88 times system don't collapse. You know, we're still not getting results. I think that there's inconsistency in the heads of this ministry. You can't continue to change power ministry while you're negotiating deals in between. So you're trying to stabilize power. You go in and you strike the Siemens deal, you get a new minister. The minister comes in, starts afresh, things don't continue, you know?
Okay, let's take one more story.
So yes, NDLEA has arrested a man called Matthew. His surname withheld, but in the paper they also named him Bassi, so maybe they forgot. Maybe it's Matthew Bassi. Anyway, he was arrested because he had gotten a young girl, Miss Peter Gift Eno. He promised her a job in Dubai, and then he gave her a luggage, and in that luggage, unknown to her, he had put in cannabis in it. Wow. And she was supposed to, without knowing, transport that to where she was going and hand it over. But she was caught at the airport. And luckily for NDLEA, Mr. Matthew was still at the airport waiting for her departure, and they were able to trace him. The story is that she's an orphan. She had just lost her mother. So he was able to prey on her vulnerabilities and get her, to do this for him. And so luckily, he was arrested. Imagine if she
in Nigeria.
Yes, in Nigeria.
Thank God it's
if
Nigeria.
She had gone further, it would have been a whole different story for her with no family members.
The points: PDP battles discontent rebellion. Why I picked Shetima as my running mate, says Tinubu. Drama in court as defendant escapes from pregnant policewoman and others. Man loses eye during 8-day torture in kidnapper's den. And, stories.
Yeah.
Yes, so a very, I would say, mild drama happened within the premises of the Osun State Judiciary Complex. They say houses both the Magistrate and State High Court in Osogbo, July 4th, 2022. And a suspect, Sodiq Ayinde, bolted out of the courtroom and disappeared into blues after being arraigned. So this 25-year-old suspect was brought in, said that he stole a phone worth 68,000 naira, and then he damaged the SIM card so that he would not be found. Then after 1 month, he was found. He was brought to court. They kept on talking about the case, and then he pleaded guilty. But while, because a policewoman that was in charge of him was pregnant, there was also another man, a police officer who was supposed to be handling him. He just noticed that they were paying attention to their next case because his own case was already adjourned. He picked up his slippers and ran out of the courtroom, and everybody started chasing him. And so as they were chasing him, they were shouting, "Ole, ole." He himself that was running was shouting, "Ole, ole, ole, ole."
Yeah,
I'm telling you, they were able to find him. And that was how he left.
Anyway, this this young man.
Fortunately, that's all we can take. Thank you so much. That's all we can take on the review. When we come back, we're bringing our first guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.